Hey everybody, I'm Charlie, and it's been about 8 months since we played Kerbal Space Program 2. When we first dove into it, it was just out of early access, and it was a very bare bones experience. And it was just, it's just inferior to Kerbal Space Program 1 in basically every way. But they've been improving it. They've been sticking with it. They've been trying to make it better. And with the early access point 2 update, they now have science and science experiments and things that I thought, anyway, should have been in the game from day one. The whole point of the game is science, right? All right, I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at the devs. I'm laughing at that dude. Anyway, single player, start a new campaign. They now given us exploration mode. Build your own space agency from humble beginnings, starting with a small suite of parts, perform experiments, and complete missions to earn science. Use science to unlock more parts of the research and development centers. So it sounds to me, based on the media that's available anyway for it, that they do not intend to give us a career mode, which personally I find that sucks. But exploration is the mode that they're going with, and it's basically like science mode in Kerbal Space Program 1, with the missions that you're getting being more tailored towards science and exploration, as opposed to trying to balance a budget. So everything's about science now. We're going to turn the cadet orientation off, and I haven't given any thought at all to a flag or anything like that. You can also, it doesn't look like there's any way to get a custom one in here either, which, I mean, mods, right? Eventually, mods. But for now, I think we'll just change up some colors a little bit here, or maybe we'll do like some accenting, you know, like a... This is fine. It's pretty, maybe a little bit bland, but it's fine. The campaign name, we're not going to be doing Conquering KSP2 yet. And we're going to play this for a little while, but I'm not going to like commit to a year plus long playthrough of this because they don't have the core stuff for outposts and, you know, their big stuff where we want to put bases on every planet, right? That was what Conquering KSP was before. If you haven't seen that playlist, I'll link it in the description down there below. I never actually finished that goal. We dropped it way early. It's weird to say it way early because it was like over 100 videos in the series, and it was a really, really fun playthrough. But by the end of it, man, we just got so many bugs, and the performance was bad, and I went too complicated with the mod list, and I had to rebuild the save twice because of hard drive issues. It plagued me. Okay, it's my very first Let's Play on this channel, period, and to this day, I regret not continuing it, but at the same time, I look back and it was like, it just needed to be done. It needed to be axed. It's just the way it was. I want to continue in the spirit of that playthrough with this game, but not just yet on this. We're going to go, in this case, we're going to go with Conquering KSP2 Light. There we go, Light. That'll be the name of our thing. And our space agency is just going to be, I honestly don't know. We'll just leave it at the Kerbal Space Agency for now. It's completely fine with me. I'm going to go ahead and start the campaign. If you haven't seen Kerbal Space Program 2 yet, I'll walk you through the absolute basics, but for the most part, the basics from the first game are here. So our Kerbal Space Center starts very large compared to the last game. And that's because there's multiple runways, there's multiple launch pads and things. And that's because this game is intended to be multiplayer. Okay, so there's 4 launch pads, right? It's intended to be multiplayer eventually. So that's a really interesting thing that I hope they get to. But again, I'm actually also hoping that that's like on the back burner, you know, like true implementation down the road sort of thing. But it would be fun to launch rockets with your friends, right? So we have the vertical assembly building, or in this case, vehicle assembly building. And that's where we're going to also build planes as well. They've changed it to vehicle instead. So we build our space planes and our rockets there. The training center is good for newbies, and you can watch a whole bunch of videos and stuff that introduce you to the basics of spaceflight and all that stuff. We're going to cover that in this video anyway, so it's fine. We have the new Research and Development Center. This didn't exist before, so let's take a look. And this is the tech tree. And there's a whole bunch of different parts and stuff. You have a science requirement for unlocking each node. Currently, in the top right corner, we have 0 science. When you hover over top of a node, it'll tell you not only the science requirements as for your balance, as it relates to your balance, but it also gives you a brief description of what that node is and all the parts that you can unlock with it, as well as the details about those parts. Okay? I'm also going to have to turn the music down because it's a little loud. So I'm going to have to do that later. There's also tabs on this too, so they kind of work in 4 tiers. And so, you know, the highest science total for tier 1 is 180 science. You get to power launchers. What could go wrong? And then you graduate sort of from that tier up to medium orbital rockets and going into things that are related to landing a little bit further away, right? Every single bit here gets a little bit further away from Kerbin, if you will. Yep, there we go. Until finally you're over here into the extra large stuff. And I'm sure there's going to be more things down the road that will be unlocked as we go through things. But there are also some nodes that unlock science equipment. So we have research miniaturization, which is going to take the science junior and make it a junior. Science junior. And that's derived from the science junior from the environmental sciences node here, which we're going to get in this video, and we're going to take a look at that. Okay, so let's go back. In escape menu is how you navigate through a lot of these things. So in the same menu that you save and stuff is where you go through here too. So I'm going to go to the tracking station real quick. Brief orientation for just people who have not familiarized themselves with this game before. This is Kerbin. It's our home planet. It's sort of like the proxy for Earth, if you will. Everything in Kerbin, unless they've changed the scale, I haven't really researched this, so I'm sorry if I'm wrong. But everything in Kerbal Space Program is a roughly 1/6 scale, if you will. There's certain liberties that are played with that scale, but essentially it's much smaller than Earth, and therefore the Delta V requirements for going around and doing things are significantly lower than they would be on Earth. We have Moon, which is a moon of Kerbin. All right, and then if you go a little bit further out, we also have Minmus, which is way over there. And we're going to take a look at those things too. And if you zoom out even further, then you get all the planets that are in the Kerbaler system. Okay, so Kerbal being the sun, if you will. I'll probably refer to it as the sun from now on. And so there you go. That's just a real quick look at what our system looks like for those of you guys who need to look at it. We also now have a mission control. So the way they've implemented this, I cannot fathom a reality in which they don't change this. Like, the way they've implemented this is just bad, and I hope that they fix it. I hope that they expand upon it and they revise it and they make it way more automated. So with mission control, you have to come in here, seek out a mission. These are not automated. Seek out a mission. It gives you a description of the mission, what your objectives are, and what your science reward is. Remember, we're not earning money now, we're earning science. What your science reward is for doing those objectives. And then it also has brought to you by Kerbal Space Center and blah, 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 blah. You can track it. You can get a mission brief, all those types of things. If I hit the mission brief, it will, the director, Carrie Kerman, will talk to me about what this objective is, and I can read this and you know, go with her on this and listen to what she has to say regarding this particular mission. Or I can hit tracking, and I can track this mission. Now, the reason why I say these are not automated is because the mission has to be here in this list in order for you to qualify it, in order for you to complete it. It has to be in this list, which means, let's say, for example, it says launch a rocket. The next objective is going to be getting out of the atmosphere, okay? If my first rocket, however, breaks Kármán line and gets into the atmosphere, I will only get credit for launch a rocket. I have to come back in here and accept break the atmosphere and then launch another rocket that does that. I want them to automatically qualify. What I'm hoping that they do in the future is automatically qualify objectives if they've already been completed, is what I'd like them to do. But so far, that doesn't seem to be the case. So we're going to track this mission. We'll just launch a rocket. It's very easy. Let's go to the vehicle assembly building. So we have a very small number of parts that are available to us in the beginning of the game. And basically, they're all here. Pod, methalox. You have stacked couplers, a single adjustable fin, a parachute. I mean, that's it. It's a very, very small number of parts. So I'm going to hit the pod. I don't know why we don't start with unmanned. I realize that the original game didn't either, but I've always found that it would be more realistic to start with probes than it would be to start with manned space flight, but it is what it is. We're going to go to the fuel tank, and we're just going to pop a couple of these on here, I think. 2 should be enough for our objective. We don't need to go very high, actually. So honestly, this is probably higher than we need to go, but it's fine. And then we're going to go and pop a swivel on here, and that is literally it. I'm not going to do anything else to this rocket. It's just going to be this. There is one other thing we could do, though. We do have to do one more thing, and that's the parachute. There's one thing else I could do though here, and that is, you know, I could maybe decouple this, right, and land it. I need to decouple it in order for the parachute to actually, you know, be able to slow us down enough for it to not explode. So we'll put the stack decoupler here. I guess that's not literally it. That's literally it. That's all we're gonna do for this. The other thing in this update for the game is they've now finally introduced heat effects and stuff. So if you're going into the atmosphere really fast, you know, too fast, if you will, you can burn up now. So there's that. There's a few quirks with that and graphically and stuff. And there's a few, you know, parts don't, you know, they cool down really, really quickly, put it that way. But overall, I would say that it's a much better system that existed before, if that's good enough to say anyway. All right, so we're just going to hit launch here. We can go through these different menus as well to get an engineer's report on what our vehicle is like if we want to. We can see what the different parts are in our parts manager if we need to. We can set up action groups later on. We can also choose which Kerbal would go on the adventure. In this case, we're simply going to allow Valentina to be the one that goes on our craft. And of course, we can rename our craft as well. The default being a tribute to Scott Manley, just being fly safe. We're just going to have that be a thing. And I'm going to hit launch. All right, so everything loads a lot faster than it used to in Kerbal Space Program 1. And that's nice. And right away off the pad, we can go ahead and do research. Now, every time there's research to do, we simply need to click this button right here. And that will automatically do the experiment. It will also open up the research inventory. And if we want to, we can transmit the data that we found. It will cost us some electric charge to do that. In this case, 36 units. So we currently have 50 units. If I was to transmit this, it would cost us 36 units to transmit that. So if I went like this, we'll see our electric charge that's built up in our batteries drain down to that point. And it also gives us a time that it's going to take to transmit it. Now the science from that crew report is completely ours, and we don't have to do anything else. There's also something else we can do. It says go outside. Some experiments must be run by Kerbal in EVA. So in this case, I could go EVA from here, and I'm standing on the rocket now. But because I'm outside the rocket, though, I can now do an experiment outside the rocket as well, and it should allow me to do that report. Hang on. Perform experiments here to earn research rewards. Yeah, I thought I was, but apparently not. Run crew observation. Apparently I'm not able to do that. Maybe because I'm still on the pad. All right, we'll go back in the craft. That's fine. So I'm pretty sure I'm able to do another one, but it's just not letting me at the moment. It's probably because I have to be off the pad and be like over there on the ground or something. All right, so we're gonna hit go. There's a bit of a countdown here, which is kind of interesting, but you can skip it if anytime you want to by just clicking the button again, and you can skip it. Since it's the first launch, though, we'll let it do it. Yeah, the G-forces on that, huh? Off we go. I'm going to turn this rocket just a little bit this direction, just to kind of get away from the Kerbal Space Center. There we go. We're just going to kind of get it off the launch pad here and move it out towards the water. And let's go ahead and throttle down so we don't overheat here. We don't really need to go very high, so this is about all we really need to go anyway. So I'll just kill it here. Because we just need to get basically up high enough for this. It's no big deal. So now I can go ahead and eject that, separate ourselves, and now we're just a big tin can. That's all we're doing here. We're just floating around in the air. We can do some somersaults if we want to. We can do another crew report while we're up in the atmosphere. All right. And the rocket has recharged our batteries a bit too, which is cool. So we have more electric charge than we started with, because the engine itself generates some power for our engines. And our current apoapsis is 21,900. If you ever hear me say apoapsis or periapsis, it simply means the apoapsis is the highest point above the surface that we will be. The periapsis is the lowest point in our trajectory, which in this case, the lowest point is negative 588 kilometers. So we're going to the ground, basically. We're gonna make contact with the ground at some point here, but or the water, right? It's above sea level, really. So altitude above sea level. So we are on our way down now. And we could transmit this if we wanted to, but I kind of want to save that electric charge a little bit. It doesn't matter, because if we recover the vessel with our Kerbal intact, we will still get the full science value. We do not need to transmit everything in order to get the full science value for this. Okay, so on our way down, it's going to speed up time a little bit here. There we go. Making our way down towards clouds. And we get to about, I mean, we can open the parachute kind of any time, but I know I'm over the ocean here, and I'm just trying to like hurry this up. So I'm going to head through the clouds, and then we'll go ahead and pop the chute. There we go. And it'll partially open until we get down to an altitude of roughly 700 or so, 800 or so meters above the ground, in which then the parachute will open up all the way, and we will safely land at a comfortable 6 meters per second. Let's go ahead and speed up the time here some more. And because we'll be in the water, that's a different biome. And so Kerbal, as well as all the other bodies in the game, all the other celestial bodies in the game, they are celestial bodies. We don't really call them celestial bodies, do we? Either way, the planets and moons that are in the system, they all have biomes that separate certain sections from other sections. And that is going to allow us to get science from various different places. So this serves as a different biome than where we were before, and we can do another report because of that. So there we go. So we have another crew observation in stock here. I can also then go ahead and do my EVA. Here I am. And if I wanted to add another experiment, I think there's a way to perform experiments here. Like, it's not letting me do that. It's very strange. Let's I felt like maybe I should be able to do that. Maybe I have to be in the water. Oh, surface survey. Maybe that's what it is. I have to be like, I'm splashed down. So I'm like going to get a sample of the water, basically. All right. Maybe the observation is good whether you're in or not. I think that's probably what it is. Whether you're in the craft or not, the observation is the same. I guess not. No, it says it's running now. So I think that's going to be different. All right. We got to get used to like how science works in this game relative to the other game. Experiment for that region is already in storage. I got it. Okay, so it doesn't matter. So if I'm in the craft or outside, it doesn't matter. Also, we swim ridiculously fast. I'm just saying, dude. We're basically in a jet ski here. Holy shit. That's very fast. All right, anyway, let's get inside our craft here if I can. Can you let me get inside? You let me get in. Can I get in? It's not letting me grab it. Please let me grab it. Let me grab it. No? B's not working. Jump's not working. There it goes. All right. So far, so good. Wait, no, never mind. Uh-oh. No. Wait, hold on. It just switched me to the craft, but she's still swimming. All right. Hang on a second here. There's got to be a way to get back in this. Right there. F1. No, F grabs. No, F grab. There we go. Woo! Oh, we are cruising now, aren't we? We got a little ahead of ourselves there. Okay. All the science is in there. And each one of these experiments actually has some text as well. So the surface samples says 95% water, you think? 3% salts, and a small percentage of organic and inorganic substances. Fish poop. Nice. Sample data here too. The water is extremely salty. And then the crew observations here, I think I just saw a school of kittenfish. And there's no place like home, which is on the landing pad and everything. So everything's good here. We have all these different science experiments. The only thing left to do now is recover the vessel. So we're just going to go to recover the vessel, and that will bring the Kerbal as well as the craft back home. You know we could do it. That's right, we did. Okay, so that we have 36 science now, and that's cool. But we also want to go back to mission control. Now we don't automatically complete this. Again, it's a completely manual. I hope they change it. But I have to go to this, and I have to say submit my report. And then I have to listen to all of this. So we're just going to say over and out. Okay. Mission completed. Launch a rocket from Kerbal and achieve an altitude of at least 10 kilometers. That's what we did. And we got 25 science for it. Yay. Okay. Next thing. Leave the atmosphere. Right away. It's there. We're tracking it. Everything's good. And we're going to go ahead and do that now. All right. But before we do that, we can now go to research and development. We can get light launchers. Now, I don't need any more parts to break the atmosphere. I'm fairly confident I can do it anyway, but we're going to get into new parts anyway. because it opens up the possibility of getting other things over here, including environmental science, which gives us new science parts. When anytime you can spend science to get another science part, it's very good, because the more science parts you have, the more experiments you can do. The more experiments you can do, the faster you can gain science, especially if you're going to places you've never gone before, like in space. So we're going to want to get that too. So we're going to light launchers. Then I'm going to grab environmental science. If there's anything left, like 41 science here, we could go to probes. I am looking to maybe do the miniaturization, which would be good. If there's any other node in here, though, that has science parts, I need to be open to getting that. And I don't see... I think orbital rocketry will be a good thing to get too. Let's get the solid fuel boosters. And we have just enough now to get orbital rocketry. But we don't have heat shields yet. And survivability is where we get the heat shield. So we're going to want to go down for survivability as well. So aerodynamics and stability is probably the next one. And then we'll follow that up with survivability so that when we do get up in space, we can come back and survive, okay? We'll get orbital rocketry next when it actually tells us to go get an orbit. All right, so from there, again, the mission now is to get out of the atmosphere. It's a very simple mission. Let's go back to the vehicle assembly building. And we're just going to build another rocket. Looks very similar to the one we just did. But this one's going to have just a little bit more firepower, enough to get out of orbit. Enough to get out of the atmosphere. We do not want to get orbit here. We don't have to get orbit here. We just want to leave the atmosphere, and that's pretty much all we need to do. So we're just going to grab that. Now we have new parts, actually. So let's also make sure we get our science part in here. This is our science parts right there. There we go. And we'll have a decoupler underneath that so that this is what's coming down. When we land, this is what we're coming down with right there. Okay. I could also grab... I don't think I need the stabilizer. I will need the parachute, of course, but I don't think I need the stabilizer. So we'll just go ahead and grab that. And then this will be there. And then, we could just do 2, right? I think we could just do 2. Or maybe it's just like this. That's probably enough tanks for this to happen. Yeah. We want a little bit more thrust this time. It's this one. Yeah. I believe that's all we need right there. I think that's everything. We don't have like temperature and atmospheric data. We don't have all those like tiny little things to slap onto the sides and everything. They kind of just like condensed everything, rebalanced everything that way. We don't need a heat shield for this one, but when we go to orbit, we will. And I don't believe it'll be required to get anything else to leave the atmosphere. I think this is enough. I'm going to try it out. I think this is enough to leave the atmosphere. Obviously not get orbit, but to leave the atmosphere, I believe it is. So we're going to go like this, make sure our parachute works. Very good. And launch. Okay, let's go ahead and just launch the vehicle straight away. Although it does say we can get some science. Okay, crew observations, environmental data. We don't want this. Oh, we didn't just use our environmental data, did we? Can we? It did. Okay, new plan. We're just going to transmit this, which is going to cost us actually more electric charge than we have. So since we already have it, guess what? We'll just recover the vessel. Ta-da! Yeah, we'll just recover the vessel, and now we have even more science. Cool. And then we'll go back to vehicle assembly building. Hold on. Vehicle assembly building. Here we go. And we'll try again. Can I do the last... Can I load the last craft? Is there a way to load the last craft that I just did? Doesn't look like it, but there are some stock crafts in here that they've built previously, which is kind of interesting. What if I just select this one and say I want to load it? And that's pretty much what I already did. But interestingly enough, I'm able to have this craft with parts that I have not currently gained access to. So for example, there are batteries and solar panels on this, and I have not unlocked those parts. So that's interesting that they would allow those to exist on my craft, even though I haven't unlocked those parts. So I think if you're playing this, I want to say fairly, if you're playing this the fair way, you would want to, I think in this situation, turn off stock crafts. And I probably can in the settings somewhere. Right here. Yeah, include stock vessels off. Yeah, that's how we probably want to do that. So just pop that right there. And then if I said load, now the crafts are gone. Okay, fair enough. All right, I'm going to just rebuild this really quick, and we'll get launching. All right, we're back on the launch pad. And for this one, I've decided to actually put on the drogue chutes. So these are parachutes that are designed to open at higher speeds. I just wanted to see how they work. So I'm just going to, I haven't used them in this game yet, so I just want to see what they look like. All right, so we're going to go ahead. Countdown. We'll just go ahead and skip it and go. And And we're going up to space here. We need to break the Kármán line, which on Kerbin is 70 kilometers. So we get to up above 70,000 meters, then we will technically be in space. And in Kerbal Space Program, when you are in space, you are 0 atmosphere, no drag. You can stay in space forever, which is very different from real life, where space doesn't just end on a magical line. There's a place that we, classify as space, but it doesn't necessarily just, end on a certain spot in real life. But in Kerbal Space Program, it does, just to simplify things. So we're going up to about 90,000 or so meters. And then I think I'm going to turn us a little bit this way and just kind of give us a nudge. Let's give us a nudge in that direction. There we go. And we'll go ahead and separate from that. All right. So we are on our way up, and we are definitely going to go to space. But it looks like we're going to be up about 97,000 meters, which will give us all sorts of times for activities. So once we get up there, let's speed up time here really quick. And we are now officially 70,000 meters above the surface, above sea level anyway, and we are now completely in space, which means we can do things like this. Aha! EVA! Very good. And I just need to let go briefly. Whee! And then we're going to run an observation while we are in EVA. There we go. Just going to hang out upside down. Of course, as you know, there is no such thing as upside down in space. All right, there we go. And we are ready to rock and roll with our nice crew observation while being outside our vessel. Let's go ahead and board the vessel again. Excellent. And now we can also run all the science that we have in here as well, including this environmental survey. We can run that if we want to. So there we go. We run that. We also run any other science experiments that we might have. We're getting observational data there. And then we might, we already did an observation, so that's fine. There's no crew reports left to do. But we're going to use the science from this big expensive unit. Well, what would be an expensive unit if there was a career mode. We're going to use that single-use experiment in low Kerbin orbit because it is worth more science. It's worth more points. So if we were to go to, is it the mission tracker, research inventory? Here it is. So if we were to look at this, we can see what each one of these are worth. And this one is worth 30 science. Having this be in low Kerbin orbit. Worth 30 science. Pretty nice. Okay, so we are going to start falling here soon. Let's just speed up time really quick. And we're going to start falling down to the surface now. Now, heat effects are a thing, right? So what we're going to want to do, I'm going to turn this to surface mode, and I'm going to tell the craft to point towards retrograde. And this is going to allow our reaction wheels and our pilot here are going to steer the craft, the reaction wheels, so that the ass end of our craft is exactly forward in the direction of our movement, retrograde to the surface, which in this case, since we're falling down and our nose end is pointing that way, that's prograde for us. So we want to face retrograde. Sorry, not face retrograde. We want to make sure that we are moving exactly in retrograde, which is going to cause our ass end to face the right direction so that we don't start tumbling. All right. Basically, the idea is you don't want to be like this. All right. You don't want to be sideways. You want to have your heat shield, which we don't have a heat shield in this instance, but when we go to orbit, we will have a heat shield with us. And so we'll be opening the drogue chutes soon. And these two parachutes here will open first. And they are configured to where they are much more likely to survive high speed. Oh, it looks like we have more things we can get. Kerbin atmosphere. Oh, nice. I didn't realize we could get that. Cool. So apparently that's not a one-time usage thing. That's pretty neat. I don't know when these parachutes are good for. Like, I don't know when I'm allowed to use them and have them not break. So we'll see. I also know that our science experiments are the thing taking all the heat right now. But there shouldn't be that much heat buildup. I'm going to go ahead and open the drogue chutes. They should be able to handle this. I'm going to open them now. There we go. They should be able to handle this. It should help slow us down even more. There we go. And then the main chutes can open now. And then the main chute should be able to survive. 150 meters per second is nothing for this parachute. Should easily be able to survive this. And then all of these will open wider once we get lower. There we go. It's going to slow us down even more. The drogue chutes, of course, are not meant to actually slow us down to safe speeds. They're just meant to help the bigger parachute. And so as we are now comfortably falling at 39.5 meters per second, if we were to hit the surface at this speed, we would die. But again, it's just meant to give us a safe speed for the bigger chute to help out. So as we come lower, bigger chute will open. There we go. And we're now falling at under 10 meters per second, which is survivable. It's not, it wouldn't be comfortable to hit the ground at 8.5 meters per second. It wouldn't be comfortable, but we would still survive, right? We would live. I don't know about the science experiment. I know what the impact tolerance for this is. I don't remember reading it. It's probably in the VAB. We can take a look at what the impact tolerance is for this part. If I had to guess, it's probably like 10 to 11 meters per second at most. All right, and we'll go ahead and go to real-time speed. And here we are on the glorious Kerbal countryside. Oh, we did lose the science experiments. So impact tolerance is not quite great for that one. So we will lose some of those unless they got popped into the cabin. They might be in the cabin because it looks like they're still in the inventory. So maybe this is something we can still save. I don't know. I mean, obviously we could usually transmit it, but we didn't have solar and I don't have the battery capacity. Transmissions take lots of power that way. That's interesting though. All right, so we can EVA here once more, right? And I can walk around the surface if I want to. That's right. And we can also take a surface survey. I do like how there's animations for these things now. Used to be just, oh, you did a surface sample, done. But now there's actually more to it, which I appreciate that. That's cool. All right, so we have 69 data, and we're now going to have, we already had that. So we're going to bring back 69 science. Nice. So let's head over to the craft here. We're going to board it and then recover it. And I don't know if we get the other science because it definitely broke. So we're going to say recover vessel, and we'll go back to KSC. From there, we'll go over to the R&D center. We have 133 science to work with. Perfect. So I want orbital rocketry. And I'm going to want probes, I think, as well, because I don't want to have to put parachutes on everything. I think we want to go, let's see, specialized decoupling would be interesting. Small payloads, we don't really need those things yet. Struts are probably going to be helpful. Having RCS is going to be fun. I don't think there's any other nodes here that are going to give us more science experiments. This is just a miniaturized version of the other one. And this says the impact tolerance is 10 meters per second. It's the other one. This is 8. Oh. So the miniature one has the 10 meters per second. This one would have survived. But this one, since it hit at greater than 8 meters per second, we lost it. But it doesn't look like we actually lost the science from it, though. There was a lot of science in that mission. So we can go through moon landing, which would give us landing legs and stuff. And then they get a different can. And we can start looking at possibilities of doing landers and things like that. But I think I'm more interested in orbit and getting out there, getting a satellite out in orbit and things like that. So I don't know if communications is going to be needed that way. Let's grab the construction introduction. And why don't we look at getting the extended decouplers, and we could maybe start looking at docking, but it's not really that big of a deal. The payload thing isn't really all that meaningful to us right now. RCS is going to be pretty good, I think. And I want power management though. We need to go here. So we have 23 science left. All right. So I didn't get this. I think we have some solar panels though, don't we? With probes? Yeah. Probes comes with a small solar panel and a small battery. We can work with that. We'll grab the lights and utilities then, and we'll work for power management next. Okay, so for that, we're going to go back to mission control. All right, there's 50 science from this too. Submit. So this will go here. We're just going to say, gotcha, over and out. Cool, 50 science. Because I really don't care about what they have to say. All right, so the next two missions now. We now have a buoyancy test, which is to land in a body of water. That's it. And then orbit Kerbal. We, of course, want to do that. But since this is on the task list as a secondary mission, we can still complete this. So if I was to go to orbit with a Kerbal right now and come back down, as long as I come back down in the water, I can actually double dip this in the same mission. So why don't we go ahead and do that? Oh, before we do that though, let's take a quick look at research and development and make sure we do have the survivability. Okay, we already did that. Let's go, let's actually do power management. Yeah, we don't need landers right now. Long range probes, yeah, we'll go power management. I'll grab that. Okay, back to the vehicle assembly building. So the last thing I want to do in this video is I want to get a craft to orbit. I know in the first video, right? It's so easy. Getting to orbit is so easy. It is pretty easy in this game. Realistic mode, it's going to be a different deal, of course. But all right, so if I went to... So this one, we're going to plan on going to orbital velocities, and we're going to plan on coming back and landing in the water. So this one's going to be a bit more complicated as far as missions go. What we want here is a way to transmit all the science so that we don't lose it. And then we're going to come back with just the can, if possible here. So we're going to want to put some drogue chutes on this. I'm going to go in and put it right about there. I think that's probably fine. We'll put the regular parachute on there too. And then what we're going to want here is, actually we'll take the Science Junior underneath, and then we'll put the, if it lets me do this, then we'll put the, where are you? Thermal, right here, heat shield on the bottom of that. So that's what's going to take all the heat. That's good. And then we can choose how much ablator we need. We really don't need very much. So ablator has mass. So if we reduce the ablation here, we'll have less mass. So I think we'll take... we'll just do about like this much. I think we'll go about half. I don't think we're going to need that much, but we'll go like half. I like how it's going to like the freaking millionth decimal place here. Like, what the heck are you doing? All right, whatever. It's fine. Next, we want the coupling. So we'll go stack the coupler there. And then we're going to want to have, let's put on... One tank should be fine, and then I think maybe not even one tank here. Not the big one. I think we can get away with a smaller one here. And then because we have the new Terrier engine, we have a much better specific impulse for space flight. So we can use the Terrier in space. I like that better. We'll put this here and put this here. And if in case you're wondering what I mean, I know I want to cater my content to newbies as well, right? So specific impulse. We're looking at the very bottom two stats there. In that description, it's ISP. ISP in atmosphere, ATM. This is 280 seconds. It's just a measurement of efficiency. Think of it like how many miles per gallon you get in your vehicle, right? Or if you drive an electric car like I do, this would be like your watt hours per mile. How efficient are you with how you go? ISP vacuum. This would be in space, in a vacuum. There's no atmosphere. And so it's 320 seconds. So the higher you see there, 320 seconds, the higher you see that number, the more efficient you are, the more you can accelerate your vehicle with less fuel, basically. So this one here at 305 is less efficient than this one at 320. But this one here is 335. That's the Terrier. We want to use that one. But in atmosphere, the Terrier is bad. It's 170. So the nozzles are shaped differently. The different internals for that engine, the way it's engineered is different depending on where it's going to be used. And you want to use engines that are meant for the specific place that they're going to be used in. So in atmosphere, you want that wider nozzle, or you don't necessarily need the wider nozzle, but they typically are shaped with a wider nozzle. And then you'll also have engines that are more catered towards and meant for atmospheric flight. Okay, so that's the brief overview there. So we're going to pop these two tanks there. And I'm just going to put, I think, the Reliant on the bottom here. We can use the swivel. I'm looking at thrust, though. This one's going to be, this is more efficient, but less thrust. You know what? Actually, honestly, let's try this. This rocket is overkill, though. Like, we're totally going to get to orbit with this. Yeah, this is going to be overkill, but it's fine. I'm all right. So the next thing is with the radial decouplers. We're going to go, I think I probably only need two. So we're going to go 2 of these radial decouplers on the sides. Probably can move them up even a little bit more. And we're going to use solid rocket boosters for this. We'll probably just use these little solid fuel. I mean, these are big ones, but I think that's probably more than I need, but we're gonna do it anyway. This is definitely more than I would need. How about try this? We'll do this instead. Let's make this bigger. All right, but we'll make the boosters smaller. I know, heresy. What has happened to the Kerbal Space Program? We'll make smaller boosters. So we'll go about here with the booster. Yep, and then bring this down, and then maybe even do 4 boosters. Might even be able to get away more with 4 boosters here. Maybe. Yeah, let's do 4. Why not? Smaller, but more of them. I like it. Okay. We're going to want a little bit of stability and control. By the time we get up there, we're going to want to be able to steer this thing. So I'm going to grab the changeling. Let's do the transform instead. And we're going to pop these in the gaps here. Right about there. And then we're going to edit these if we choose to. And I do. And the wing shapes, everything's procedurally generation, or, procedural wings, right? We had those as a mod in KSP1. That functionality has been brought to this game as well. So we can do things like changing the wingspan, making them smaller if we want to, changing the angle if we want to. So bring them up like this or down like this. We want them to be swept like that, right? Definitely. Sure. Can make them a little bit shorter if we want to, a little thick. A little thicker, different shapes and stuff, right? We can change the length of them. I'm wanting to bring them in a bit more. I don't think this is the right type of wing I need. No, these aren't the ones that I'm looking for, though. Yeah, these are a different design. That's not what I'm looking for. I want, I think it's these ones. Yeah, these are the fins I'm looking for, I think. Right here. Now, these are, of course, very small, but we make them bigger. So we go in and we make them much, much bigger so that they are going to stabilize us a little bit better. I like it. Maybe we change the angle a little bit more. About like that should do. Cool. Why not? And then we'll put the nose cones on there. Okay, good. So this will definitely get us to orbit. I've got all the confidence in the world. We want to go ahead and check our staging. So the staging over here on the right, if you haven't seen it already, me setting this up, everything on the bottom will fire first, and then it just works its way up the chain. So you can put things in order and then just basically choosing what you're doing while you're flying just by hitting spacebar. So we're going to fire these first. Then we're going to decouple them, fire this. I think I want to fire this before we decouple that. So let's swap those. We'll fire this next. Then we'll decouple these. Then we decouple this. Then this one will fire. And we're in space, and then finally when we're ready to come home, we'll do this. And then the drogue chutes should open before the primary chute. So we'll do that. All right, that seems pretty good. And we're just going to call this one Orbiter 1. Orbiter 1. Although if you're not going to save it in space and actually put it on the map, then it doesn't really matter what you name it, right? I don't think it does anyway. All right, so we're going to do that and launch. Yeah, just launch this. All right, so the goal is to get out there and explore the stars. No, we're going to go out in orbit, and then we're going to hopefully collect all the science. Oh, actually, before we do that, we need to revert real quick to the VAB because I want to make sure that we're going to transmit that science before we come back, just in case something happens. So I want to have a communication. I need a little antenna here. Let's just pop one of these on here. I don't think it's going to matter much. If I can get it to behave. Hey, you want to behave? I want to pop you right back here. You know what? We can do it right like this. That's fine. On the back of that tank is fine. And then I want to get some electrical stuff. So how about we grab a couple of batteries? We can ditch these because we don't need to be efficient with it since we're not keeping it because it's not money. Yeah, that's how this works. Of course, we're adding weight to the craft, but I don't think it's going to matter much here. That's not that much weight. It's going to go like that. And then finally, we want our solar arrays. We could do the large panels on the sides, and I'll just do 2 of them And we'll put it on there like this. Like that. Now we have to see whether or not it's going to be in the way of the engine. Not really. I mean, I don't think it's ever going to be in the way per se, but I'm going to move it up a little bit. Okay. Oh, well, we need to. Right? Like that. Okay, cool. I mean, we don't need to. I just need to keep that side pointed at the sun, right? But symmetry. And I don't want to have any torque on the vessel because there's something on one side and not on the other. So keep everything symmetrical. I believe everything is still in the same order I had it before. Looks like it is. Yeah, looks pretty good. Okay, now we'll launch. And this is going to give me a couple of things. It's going to let me transmit data if we're further away, because I probably will need the antenna to do that. And it will also, just go ahead and go. So initially, we're powered purely by the solid engines. Solid rocket boosters are doing everything right now. I cannot slow them down, all right? You can't slow them down. But what you can do, let's fire the other engine here. Now we can start turning. Let's go ahead and get rid of those. Now, I was kind of hoping I'd be able to turn this craft, but it's not letting me do that. There it goes, kind of. I got too stable. I can't actually turn. All right, hold on. There we go. Come on, turn. There we go. Get some authority on this. This is a terrible angle. But I think it'll still work. Let's go. I think it'll still work, but it's not great. Oh boy. Come on. Let's go. Yeah, I couldn't really control it. I wanted to lean it, but it didn't let me lean it. Oh yeah, we're gonna be fine. We're totally gonna be fine. So fine. Yeah. Piece of cake. Definitely getting orbit here. All right, so we've got, I mean, hell, we might even be able to go to the damn moon with this. Let's go ahead and stop that there. Our apoapsis right now is 83.2. We've got 900 meters per second of delta V remaining in this stage, which I think is going to be configured fairly well because it will let us get almost to orbit with this stage, and then we can eject this. This stage will then deorbit, and then we'll be able to take the remaining stage we have, which is this Terrier engine with this little tank, and that will take us the rest of the way to orbit. That's the plan anyway. So let's speed up here really quick. And we're going to get up to about, I think, like 80K or so is probably a good place to go here. There we go. About there is fine. Okay, we'll go ahead and turn this back on. And we have currently 24 seconds to apoapse. You can see that with the timer right here. It tells me how far or how much time is going to pass before we reach the apoapsis, the highest point above. And so what we want to do is turn this on and try to keep that timer from going to zero, basically. So it looks like I'm a little bit late on the burn. I'm going to kind of nose myself back here a little bit. A little bit late on that burn. And thrust to weight ratio is probably not the greatest here, but it's still working. There we go. That's good. Now back to 24 seconds. I like it. And then we can eject this. This stage will still deorbit, and then we fire this engine, and that will take us the rest of the way to orbit. All right, so nice wide plume there. Loving it. Oh, looks so good. I still remember, like, with mods, KSP1 looked really good too. With mods, it was amazing. Oh man. When this game gets mods, it's gonna change the world, man. The whole, you've never played a space game like this before. That's what it's gonna be like. You ain't never seen a space game like me before. All right, so I can turn this basically off at this point. We can go ahead and fire this when we get a little closer to the apoapse, because we have raised it up to 86 now. And I think we just do it again. It's fine. Go up to, I don't want to go up the apoapsis to be too high, because then it means that we're going to have, well, it doesn't necessarily mean we have more velocity. I can always turn us retrograde to deorbit us, which I have to have enough fuel to do that. I don't want to stay in orbit, so I have to have enough fuel to deorbit us as well, at the right angle. So it is kind of important to do this a little more efficiently here. So let's just get ourselves to about 7, 6, 5. So we're about 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds. We'll hit it full blast, and we're now in orbit. Perfect. And a fairly circularized orbit at that, which is nice. Okay, so let's look at the map really quick. There's our nicely circularized orbit and our previous stage. Oh, hey there, camera. Our previous stage is going to deorbit itself, burn up in the atmosphere, explode, do all the things, and it'll land in the water, which is what we want to do eventually, is land in the water. We can, however, do all sorts of science. Here we go. We get a little bit of science. Is there any science left to get here? Not really, no. So nothing left to do. Nothing to transmit. None of that stuff. Okay. Well, we could technically stay up here indefinitely. The game will allow us to do that, but we obviously want to land in the water. So I'm going to plan a maneuver right about here. All right, and we are going to plan a maneuver that gets us down about like that. Should be good. All right, it's near the... If I burn completely here, I'll have no fuel remaining at that point. So that's as far as I'm able to go. And that's a pretty good angle. Yeah, I mean, we could go a little less than that. And honestly, we probably should go a little less than that. But I just want to make sure I land in the water. So we can also go just a little less than that and then pull the maneuver back and do it earlier. That will guarantee that we land in the water. So I like that. All right, so we're going to do that. So to do maneuvers, final thing to show you in this video. It's already an hour-long KSP video, yeah? There'll be many more of those hour-long KSP videos. With this, we have now the maneuver control here. We can hit this, and this will orient the craft to face towards the next maneuver that we need to do. So we're already pointing where we need to go. Then I can hit this button, which will time accelerate us all the way over to about 30 seconds before that maneuver. So we're already pointing the right direction, and we're 30 seconds to the maneuver now. All right, so how this game does it is going to give you like a little, like drag race kind of countdown light show here. And you basically just hit the button when it tells you to and stop when it tells you to. But in this case, I don't really need to stop when it tells me to, because I'm going to run out of fuel. It'll stop me. So that's fine. And we have the, I like how the music changes too. That's pretty cool. There we go. So I'm going to burn retrograde at this moment. And as I do that, where I'm going to ends up coming down here. There we go. Perfect. Done. I'm just going to stop it right there. So we don't need to go any more than that. Okay. So in that case, we get to eject this. Pop. And now we are on internal power only. But we have a heat shield now. Ooh, fancy. It's already taken some damage, looks like. Oh, I have also removed a blader, right? Yeah, 0.08 out of the 0.2 tons that it would normally have. I am interested to see whether or not anything goes on with the ablation there. Let's go ahead and remove the maneuver. We don't need it anymore. And we are now going to point surface retrograde. All right, cool. So now it's just a matter of waiting. We just wait now. Let's move time acceleration. There we go. We're now 4 times because we're too close. Actually, we're in atmosphere now. Yep, we are now in atmosphere. But instead of traveling 600 meters per second, we're traveling almost 2,000 meters per second. It's definitely a different thing there, isn't it? And we have nothing left to collect, so never mind. But we're going to splash down in the water, and that's going to give us some science. So let's speed up time a little bit here until we start to see any type of heating effects, which should be happening right around 45, 50K, unless it's a little different than KSP1. All right, so let's look a little bit lower. I guess maybe I'm just misremembering. I would think that I'd start seeing some kind of heating effect, though, around 40K. Especially at this speed. We're traveling nearly 2,000 meters per second. No? Nothing yet, huh? Okay. I just want to see how much ablator we use. So I'm going to move this over here. Here we go. Now we're seeing it. All right, cool. So ablator's getting used up. 0.07. Oh boy. Slowing us down. Here we go. I'm going to put it over here, I guess. That looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Oh, we're falling fast here. Woo, boy. Getting toasty. Actually, the heat shield's doing its job. You would think, though, the edges of this unit here would be getting a lot of heat, right? But maybe not. Maybe it's just kicking it really wide to the outside or something, right? Okay. So the heat shield did its job. Fantastic. We're a little bit fast for the drogue chutes yet, so we're going to wait just a little bit longer. And let's go ahead and open up the drogue chutes now. And that'll slow us down really fast. There we go. Now, in KSP1, we could also eject this. We don't need the extra weight anymore, but I don't see a way to do that in this one, so okay. And now, as we fall to the surface, we'll have an easily safe speed to land here. So we'll just time accelerate right now. Bring us down. There we go. About 5,000 meters. And we're at about 150 meters per second falling. Now we'll pop the remaining chute. There we go. And we are easily going to be landing in the water. We don't have land for another 150 plus miles, man. I can't even see it on the horizon, so we are absolutely in the water now. We're going to earn that science. Although the heat shield, you'd think you get heavy enough of the heat shield, it could drag you down, you know? It's like a big anchor tied to your ankles. Or in this case, to your boat. But anchors are always on boats. So that doesn't make any sense, does it? All right, here we go. And I'm sure I'd fill the airwaves, man. I just got to fill the airwaves. All right, so recoverable and science reward is available from mission control. We did it. Everything is good here. I don't think we have any other science to grab. Okay, there's a couple of science. Yeah, we have this to have 5 extra science from that. Okay, cool. So 5 science that we didn't have before. Fair enough. We can transmit it. No? No, we can't. We don't have a signal. That's fine. All right, let's recover the vessel. There we go. And back to the Kerbal Space Center. We can go to mission control and claim both of these rewards. Science, submit, report. Done, 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 done. 40 science. And then also orbit Kerbin is done. Submit, report. Gotcha, 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 gotcha. Over and out. 75 science for that. Very nice. Okay, so now 3 new tasks. Moon or bust. So, you know, go to the moon, basically. Or at least establish orbiter on the moon. So, all right, we don't even have to land, just orbit. And then there's also going green and spacewalking. So EVA, that's easy. We've already done that once, but we don't get credit for it because it wasn't active when we did it. Brought to you by Strutco. And then also going green. This is attaching a science junior to a vessel and perform an environmental survey on Kerbin. Yeah. You see what I mean? It wants you to do these things you've already done, but that's how they've done this. So these are our current mission objectives. I think we go to the moon now, right? Just get an orbit of the moon and come back. That's the next mission, I think, is good to do. We could do these 2 things very easily while we're doing that, okay? But we have 148 science now, which is nice. And we can probably unlock even more things, including moon landing if we wanted to. But I think I'm going to leave this video here. So let me know what you think about the new exploration mode in Kerbal Space Program. I'm Charlie. I appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.